My name is Yisa Akinbolaji, visual and experimental artist based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and that's here in Canada. Also, I'm founder of the Creative Foundation. I'll answer the main question we get from parents, and that, how did I come up with the idea of the Creative Foundation and why? The Creative Foundation was established in Winnipeg in 1999 to empower the youth through meaningful education so they can develop a strong academic foundation when they are still young. I strongly believe that if a child does not have a brain injury and is not too distracted, every child should be able to have a strong academic foundation. And recognizing that if a child must do well in the college or university without much stress, developing a strong academic foundation from kindergarten through high school is very important. I cannot overemphasize that. I have been a teacher myself. I've taught in high school and I have taught in a college, So I understand how important it is to develop a strong academic foundation. And in this day and age of computer technology and video games and television, we've come to realize when a child is to be registered with the Creative Foundation after school program, in the presence of their parents, they confess to us that they do not sleep until very late into the night. In fact, some confess to us that they do not sleep until 1 a.m., some 2 a.m., to the surprise of their parents. And the question we ask is, if a child must do well in school the following day, such child must have a good night's sleep. And children are very innocent. They do not actually understand why education is important. So with the Creative Foundation, we have very competent instructors in the sciences, in computer coding, web design, and fine art. But key in what we do is the mentoring. We make kids to realize how important education is and developing interest in education at school. We also make them realize how important it is that they go to bed early. So in the subjects that we teach at the Creative Foundation, we make the kids over time to present through the PowerPoint to the students. And this is to empower them and prepare them. And a number of them have come to tell how good they've been doing at school. So we've realized that a number of parents do not have, particularly parents who are who are new immigrants to Winnipeg or to Canada, who have to engage in 2 or 3 jobs so they can be able to maintain their family, do not have enough time for supervision. And these kids are very innocent. They actually don't know how much harm they are doing to their future by not paying attention in school or by staying up late. So we encourage every child to pay attention to their subjects, to their mathematics, to every subject, even if they are not subjects that are taught within the Creative Foundation space. So what we teach at the Creative Foundation, we encourage them to take the same principle to their other subjects in school. We emphasize that there is no subject in class that must be ignored. Our students realize the importance of developing good habits, self-motivation, self-discipline, sleeping in time, and not misusing the technology. So our students realize that, and a number of them return back to tell us how they are performing in the other subjects, whether it's in mathematics and languages. We make all our students to realize that no subjects should be ignored. And they come back, a number of them come back to explain to others they got 100% in their text for the first time, which is very encouraging. And included in the in our system is that after 3 weeks or a month of being in our program, we get the students to use the microphone to present on what they have learned from the Creative Foundation through the PowerPoint and projector. This is to empower them so that when they return back to their regular school, they are emboldened and they are empowered. And so this is part of what the Creative Foundation program has been able to achieve. And we do print calendars, monthly calendars, where we ask the students to check when they sleep at night. And we made them realize that their parents are not expected to monitor. And when they return the calendars back to us to receive the one for the following month, we make them realize that even our instructors are not going to monitor them. So we want them to take responsibility for their actions. So we paint the picture of what is expected of them in the future and how they have to prepare. So that is essentially how the Creative Foundation operates. The Creative Foundation actually, which started in Winnipeg in 1999, was first started by me in Nigeria in 1994 while I was still in Lagos. And before 1994, I had taught at Lagos State Model College for 10 years. And by this time, I resigned my appointment, my teaching appointment. And to my surprise, the school principal by the name Alhaji P.A. Badamosi came to my studio and informed that the students that I have taught and left behind came to his office without warning with placards and protest signs that crying that he must go and invite Mr. Yisa Akinbolaji to come back as a teacher. And he explained to them that it was voluntarily that I resigned because I wanted to go and focus on my visual art. And before joining the school, I have been exhibiting on regular basis for so many years. But since I got to that school, I became really so busy. And the school being a special institution with boarding school and staff quarters for the staff. So in the evening, we coordinated what we used to call Arts and Craft Club, where I get all the students to, come together. We do mentoring program. I have to make sure that all the students have completed their homework in other subjects. And I also engage them at that point to realize how important all the subjects were. And I'll say 100% of them are successful today, and they are spread across the globe. But so after Mr. B. Badamasi came to my house and told me that he was disappointed that I won't want to come back. So he left, and 3 weeks later, he came again and said to me that he has spoken to the parents. And the parents agreed that indeed, as a professional artist, I needed time for my practice, for my profession. But that they will offer that I come back to the school only for 2 days in a week. And I could choose whether it is weekends or evenings during the week. And they offered to pay double the salary I was receiving when I was full-time. So with that, I realized that I could spend the remaining days on my art practice, and then I could spend 2 days to mentor the kids in time management and all of that. So that was how I returned back to the school. And upon returning back to the school, what we used to name as Arts and Craft Club, I told the school principal that I would like to now changed to Creative Foundation. So, and essentially, it's a foundation where student academic aids developed. The foundation of students' academics. That was what it was. A little art here and mentoring other subjects. So from that, we invited professionals, established professionals in various career fields, in medicine, in architecture, in visual art, in politics, in law. We invited them, and the school principal agreed with me that we should have a day of Creative Foundation. So that was how it started. And during the day of Creative Foundation, we invited media houses, television stations, radio, and newspapers. They came to cover our event. It was a big event in Lagos when it first started in 1994, and it was 1996 that I started thinking that I would love to go and study how to use computer abroad. So when I returned back to Nigeria, it will help my art profession, and then I can return back to Lagos State Model College, where I started the Creative Foundation. But upon arriving in Winnipeg to study at Red River College, now Red River College Polytechnic, I just was restless. I knew I had to paint. I knew I had to exhibit. And then I had an exhibition which was coordinated by Ray Dex, who is also an artist and a curator of the exhibition that he invited me. With that exhibition that Ray Dex curated, I then met a number of artists and art stakeholders within Manitoba. And specifically, there was one man, much elderly, who was a member of the Manitoba Society of Artists. So he saw my work at that exhibition, and that was in 1998, and invited if I could join their society, Manitoba Society of Artists. And in their 99th year, we had to have an election at the end of the year. I think it was in November. I was at that meeting just to observe how, as a new member, how their election is conducted, so that when I return back to Nigeria, I could share that experience with my fellow society artists there in Nigeria. And to my surprise, I was elected as the president of the society, which meant that the 100-year anniversary became the responsibility of my fellow executives. And so with the 100-year anniversary that we coordinated and was a success, I became known to many art stakeholders and an artist. And unfortunately, around the same period was when political unrest in Nigeria became very dramatic. And I was thinking that, well, if I return back to Nigeria, and I don't know how safe situation will be. And not only that, when I left Nigeria, the electricity failure there was quite intense. And when I arrived to Winnipeg, I realized that 24 hours electricity were available. And the thought came upon that if I return back to Lagos with my asset of technology, I wasn't even sure if I would have enough electricity to enjoy the use of what I have learned. And it was at that point I started thinking of staying behind for a while. So, which was what eventually led to establishing the Creative Foundation. And since the Creative Foundation started in Winnipeg, fortunately, we have a number of successful individuals in various careers in medicine, in entrepreneurship, who can claim that they have benefited from what we established, and now it's growing from that. So Creative Foundation now has its location currently at St. Mary's Road in Winnipeg. And for anyone who may be interested in registering their kids to benefit from what we offer, such individual can go to our website, which is thecreativefoundation.org. And you'll find our email address, you'll find our phone number, and we'll love to hear from you.